G'day. Why are intersections cyclists' biggest danger zone? And what can you do about it? Did you know that 1 in 4 cycling deaths occur at intersections? Well, today we're digging into a paper based on research in Michigan over a 10-year period, a collaboration between multiple universities that generates data, models, and gives meaningful, real results. We're going to look into that right now. Cycling is a booming industry. Many of us are shifting from transportation using ICE, internal combustion engines, to electric powered transportation, and cycling is one of the most efficient and convenient forms of transportation. But it's not without its hazards. In fact, over 40,000 people are injured in the United States alone every year, and a lot of those incidents occur at intersections. Now, the title of the paper is Effects of Intersection Control Types on Driver Yielding Behavior to Cyclists Using Mixed Logit Modeling. Now, I'm going to leave a link to the paper in the description for you to check out. If you want to look at the maths, the equations, the data, then you can do that. But in summary, they've collected around about 12,000 accidents, reports of accidents from Michigan Department of Transportation, and they've analyzed those using this logic modeling technique, which is a technique which helps to bring out the nuances and the key learnings from all of that data are better than other modeling techniques, and they talk about that. Now, if you're not familiar with how a paper works, usually it's done by a university under the guidance of a university, and in this case it's a collaboration between multiple universities and multiple people in there. So they could be undergrads, postgrads, people who are part of the university system. When they collect the data, when they do the modeling and they present the paper, that paper then goes out to a peer review, and it's that peer review which is so important to creating accurate data and picking up mistakes or any kind of things that they may have missed in their analysis. And that gets fed back and it creates a high quality of report. Now compare that to some guy that just jumps on a bike and does a video as he wanders through the town. It's very anecdotal. This is real data and real modeling. So it's highly valuable because it takes away the biases that some individual person may have, or their own particular agenda, or whatever product they happen to be selling. So this is really a great paper to focus on, and we're going to dig into exactly what they say. There are 3 types of control systems at intersections. There are traffic lights, yield stop signs, and they're based on basic rules. There's no control system, so it's just rules based. So when there's traffic lights, the paper shows that actually you're more at risk at traffic lights than you are at the other two, especially if the car is turning to the right across the path of the cyclist. So that was interesting, but it also inferred in the paper that traffic lights are where there is more traffic, so there is more likely to be an accident there. The second one, yield and stop signs, where you have the traffic is supposed to stop, a failure to yield or failure to stop is also very high. And of interest, the uncontrolled intersections, so these are ones that are in suburban areas or in quiet country roads, it's the give way to the right kind of rule. These were actually the safest. That's probably because of the low density of traffic. Driver behavior is, of course, a key factor here, and they bring this out in the paper. So 70% of intersection crashes happen because drivers fail to yield. So they are supposed to stop for the cyclist and they do not. Turning maneuvers are the most dangerous. Left turns, drivers up to 12 times more likely to be at fault, and right turns 13 times more likely to be at fault. Straight through, drivers often misjudge speed and don't notice the cyclists. Older drivers are more likely to misjudge and fail to yield, so that was over 60. Impaired drivers, alcohol, drugs, 3 to 4 times more likely. No surprises there. We all know that alcohol is a key factor in many instances, well, drugs and alcohol. Passenger vehicles, vans and SUVs, the smaller vehicles are often more at fault than the heavier vehicles. That was a surprise to me. And multi-lane intersections reduced driver fault, also another surprise to me. I didn't realize that multi-lanes actually was safer than single lanes. And crashes are more frequent in daylight and weekdays due to traffic and visual clutter. Another surprise to me. I would have thought that daylight was safer, but actually not so, according to this data. So what can you do to keep yourself safer whilst you're riding on the roads? Well, a lot of this stuff is obvious, but let's go into it regardless, because I think the constant reminders to ourselves is helpful. Well, when we come up to intersections, we have to be aware that the car may not see us. We should always assume that we are not being seen. So one way to ensure we're being seen is to look at the driver and gain eye contact. If you can get eye contact, then they've seen you and they're far more likely to yield to you. Secondly, turning across your path are particularly likely to not see you. You are smaller, you are more likely to be in the background clutter, as they call it. So be very aware of those turning vehicles that are going across your path. To make yourself more visible, flashing lights, high-vis vests, helmets, those sorts of things can really help. And be aware that if the car does move, do you have a place to go? Those multi-lane roads are safer for you. That gives the driver an option to swerve out of your way and you an option to get out of the way as well. Another thing that was a surprise is just keeping an eye on the driver. Who is driving? Are they driving erratically already? Then you want to be super wary, maybe even just give way and let them go. If it's an elderly driver or they look like they're impaired in some way, then certainly give them an extra wide berth. And finally, not to rely on those controls. In other words, the traffic lights are there, but it doesn't mean that someone's going to adhere to that. Be aware that that is only a signal. It is not stopping the traffic. The road signs are only there to tell the driver what to do. They aren't necessarily going to do it. So always give yourself a safety route if somebody is not yielding or giving way to you as you expect. So how can technology help? Well, in particular, Hawkeye can be very helpful as it gives great situational awareness. So when you're going through an intersection, you are aware of the traffic that is behind you, and you don't need to look in your mirrors, you don't need to look over your shoulder. You're aware of the traffic that's behind you. You don't need to be distracted. That gives you your full focus to the side to where there are potential hazards as you go through the intersection. So as you approach an intersection, you're glancing down at the Hawkeye, giving you that understanding of what's happening behind you and giving you a chance to use your eyes up in front to be aware of the intersection and the hazards that are there in front of you. Secondly, Hawkeye has a lot of data on its reporting. It has a video recording camera, so if something does happen, it's then recorded and can be used for future data. It doesn't help you in the moment, but can certainly help save lives down the track. Now, where is this technology all going? Well, it's going towards vehicle-to-vehicle communications. And Hawkeye is well placed to be a part of that. As this technology advances and more cars have positional data which is sent to the cloud, Hawkeye knows where all of the cars are and therefore can be used for complete 360 evaluation. That's not part of the product now. It will be many, many years before all of the cars have this kind of technology, but it's certainly coming. And we hope for regulations that mandate it, even retrofit it into older vehicles so that it really would keep everybody safe. But that's for the future. Intersections don't have to be death traps for cyclists. We have technology, our own behaviors can be adjusted, our awareness can be improved. We can't control other drivers, but we can be aware where the risks are and what is likely to happen and how to keep ourselves safe, where the dangers are, and to be extra alert or even avoid those danger areas. Hawkeye is part of that, keeping our situational awareness up. If you want to know more, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, check out our Facebook page and other social media sites. Also have a look at our webpage. I hope that helps and thanks for watching.